is the Last Minute Blues podcast with Jeff Burton, Donnie Fandango, and former Blues defenseman Jamie Rivers.
It is the Last Minute Blues podcast. Donnie Fandango, Jeff Burton, and Jamie Rivers joining you here on a Tuesday in St. Louis. Gentlemen, how goes it?
It goes it. How about you over there? Good?
Good. A little note to you guys and to myself, although, I just started working out again, like hardcore. I got on the train a little while ago.
Right.
I fell off a little bit. Back on now pretty religiously, eating better. Well, I found out just a week ago we have a gym.
Yes.
It's attached to this building or whatever. And I thought, okay, it's going to be like one of those little hotel gyms, like an old stationary bike, maybe a medicine ball, maybe one of those things around your waist that goes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I didn't even know those things did anything.
Yeah. Those are very sanitary for sure.
Yeah, totally, especially now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's none of those things. It's actually a really nice gym.
Super nice.
Yeah, super nice gym. So I went over there yesterday, bumped into King Scott, and he was walking in, so he kind of led me into the workout area, and I said, oh, my gosh, I would have never known this was here. So today was my first workout, like, at our Hubbard Radio City Place gym. Guys, you should probably stop your workout well before you have to leave and do something else. I'm still leaking.
Oh, yeah.
Is it like the after shower sweat? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, like I got good cardio in today, did a little bit of chest and back, looked at the time. I knew that Jeff, Mariah Carey here, we had to be on time for the podcast. You use an excuse for something tomorrow. I can't remember what it is, but...
Okay, well...
Just go to the baseball game with the show that I'm on, that's all.
Do we want to go by the text messages that we all shared last night when we were going to do this on Thursday?
I told you guys, 11:07. So after my work...
Such a bunch of crap.
After my workout, I showered really quickly, and then I got out of the shower, I thought, this is great. Now, and then I just started leaking more.
That's the
sweating.
worst, man.
And I'm like, son of a gun. So now I'm like, okay, note to self. Maybe stop the workout a little earlier, or
I talked
to
down,
Brad Barnes with the fast lane. I'm like, I'm going to bring a fan in, maybe put it in the office because I can't do this.
Yeah, talk to Brad Barnes about working out. That's a good idea.
No, more about the fan. He likes to sweat, too.
Guys, I want to ask sort of a weird question for this podcast. Not really weird, but
is it about long division?
No, it is not.
Okay,
it's a bit of a baseball question.
Okay.
So over the Cardinals won last night, but over the course of the last couple of weeks, oh man, it's really been
tough to call it baseball, to be honest.
They're just lying in the weeds, boys.
Well, I mean, it feels almost embarrassing.
Weeds are getting high.
Lying in the weeds.
When does it come time for an organization, even a good one, to go, we have made some strategic errors here, and not blow it up and start all over? But my question specifically about the Cardinals is I wonder if Schilt, Maddox, and Albert, all three need to go. And if they need to start over again in those prime positions. And I know that this can kind of bleed over into other sports. At what point, when there is a successful, front office that's had a great run but really is on a cold stretch, at what point do you start making those moves? Because I'm trying to not be the fire guy, even though I just said that. But at some point, you got to shock the system. And up until last night was nice, but man, these Cardinals look dead in the water the last couple weeks.
I don't think Schilt was ever a long-term hire, was he? Or am I wrong?
No, they gave him an extension.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they brought him
how
as
much
an
of one?
Intern. I don't know, 3 years, I think.
Okay.
They brought him in as an interim. He did a fantastic job that year.
Which he did.
He did. And he brought back a lot of the fundamentals to baseball, like overdid it on, players knowing the basics of how to catch, how to field, how to throw, and all that stuff. I know that sounds elementary, but sometimes when you get to be such a high level, you forget about some of the smaller details. And so Schilt was that guy to kind of rein it back in. But I think they gave him a 3-year extension.
I mean, 3 years, that's fine. I'm just saying I don't see him being a Tony La Russa guy that's here 10, 15 years from now. It seemed like more of a stopgap.
I think that's what they were hoping to be.
They're short in the accounting department where they got him from. Is that correct? Isn't it? He looks like an accountant, does he not?
He does. Until you see the behind the scenes. Thank you, Randy Arozarena, and thank you for getting yourself traded, you son of a. Anyways, he's got a little bit of fire in his belly. Schilt does, and I think. Look, Donnie, to your point, it's tough right now for sure. This is the worst stretch of baseball I've seen since 1993, my first time landing in St. Louis. The Cardinals have always been something worth watching, and it's tough now. Now it's tough to watch, and I have to watch it because I talk about it every day.
Right.
So it's not like I can just I'm going to turn it off and go on to something else. I'm gutting it out. But I don't think you can fire everybody. It comes down to maybe you make a little switch, and sometimes instead of firing, maybe you add somebody. Like I said this yesterday on the Fast Lane, which is 2 to 6 daily on 101 ESPN.
In St. Louis.
Set your clocks. But I said instead of firing Jeff Albert, maybe you bring somebody in to, help him out. So let's say it's a Matt Holliday. Let's say it's a Jim Edmonds.
I thought about Matt Holliday
It's a
yesterday.
Ryan Ludwig. Let's say it's somebody like that who's already doing this kind of coaching / tutoring type stuff for hitters in the majors. Bring them in, and maybe they're the voice. Between the analytics and the player, there seems to be a gap, right? And maybe one of these guys is the translator. How about that? We call him the translator and gets the message to the players. Because I think what Jeff Albert is doing is the right thing to do because that's what they're doing all over baseball. The analytics, the line drive company that he had before and all that stuff, that's players go flock to that in the offseason. But somewhere between that whole philosophy and the art of hitting, there's a missed message somewhere. And I think that maybe adding a translator / another coach could help that.
I always thought that, and I know there was a time during the Tony La Russa era that Ozzie Smith was, and there was that friction, if you will.
They hate each other.
Yeah, and that's why Ozzie never, became a coach or anything like that. Maybe Ozzie doesn't want to do that. But I always thought he would be a great guy to be the go-between between all the powers that be and the actual players on the field. And a great example of that would have been a handful of years ago with that Brendan Ryan. Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
You remember Brendan Ryan?
Space case Brendan Ryan.
Yeah, he was Gold Glove candidate every time he played, but he was a space cadet, never batted more than my weight, probably at least for the Cardinals anyway.
Yeah.
I want to say he went on to win a World Series somewhere, but I'm
think
not positive.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
But anyway, I always thought because he's such a good glove, if you remember, Ozzie Smith, an amazing glove at first, but he was almost an automatic out at first when he first came here, turned himself into a 300 hitter. I always was wondering why they didn't bring him in to go, okay, Brendan, we found something here with you. Here's Ozzie. You guys just hang out together and maybe turn him into something more.
Well, and you never know if it's the person, which I understand. And I also, too, appreciate very much, going back to kind of what we were talking about a bit before, like continuity and leadership. I know that matters. Yeah. I know it's a big deal, and I know that just because you fire X, Y, and Z doesn't mean things are going to turn around tomorrow, but I am just fascinated at when that moment becomes necessary, and if with our Cardinals, if we are dancing dangerously close to that moment.
Well, sometimes too you have to look at the players, though. Okay.
Oh, well, dude.
Because at the end of the day, I can tell you this: that no matter what I was coached and taught and told, once my skates touch the ice, I've got full control.
It's you. It's on you.
I can do what I want. Now, it doesn't mean the coach is going to be happy when I come back off the ice. I might not see the ice again, but I have full control. And so, as far as the Cardinals are concerned, especially the offensive side, they get into that batter's box, and it's up to them. It's up to them to execute. And if they don't like what they're hearing or they don't understand, this isn't their first at-bat. Mm-hmm. They've played Little League, high school, college, minor pro, whatever it's been, right? They've been able to hit the ball and figure it out without all this other help. Go back to that. It's pretty simple. Bat, ball, swing. And I know that's like really, really simplifying it, but you can't tell me, like I brought up Pete Rose the other day, and never mind he's gambling and all this stuff. Pete Rose didn't have analytics to go by. He had what he was born with to pick up little things that the pitcher was doing and make contact with the ball. He didn't try to hit home runs all the time. He made line drive contact. And why can't we go back to a little bit of that where it's a feel for the game? It's what you know. It's what you grew up doing instead of, well, this is what the printout tells me.
Right. Get
the printout out of your head. It's supposed to be there as an accessory, not the main thing that's driving you on how to be a batter.
Sure.
And this crosses all sports, but you're maybe kind of playing off of the Tommy Edman comments the other day when he kind of sort of alluded to the fact that we're not really all that prepared. I think
and I
one
don't
of you
think Tommy
guys.
Edman did a good job of explaining.
No, he didn't.
He sure did.
Because that seemed like a massive sewer job.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the way it was presented.
But I liked how you guys said on your show that, hey, at a certain point, it's on you, dude. You can have all this stuff, but it kind of like you were just saying, all the analytics and all of this information should just be a complementary piece to just go out there and do your job.
Yeah, 100%. And Tommy Edman, I know what he was trying to say is I think he was trying to place a little blame on himself first, that maybe they're not prepared, like the players aren't prepared. But it translated to, hey, we're not being given the information, which, quite honestly, talking to people on the inside, they're being given way too much information, I think. Is
it would be the opposite, yeah.
And we had our good buddy Matt Holliday on the show, and we brought that up and said, hey, we're going to play a piece of audio for you here. Tell us what you think of this. And he's the one who got us on that trail. He said, it sounds to me like this lies on the player. He's like, yeah, you have certain philosophies, but it's 162 games. You need to take it upon yourself, too, to do a little research. Like simple stuff, like even as a hockey player. Here's the basic systems and their power play and their setup and their line rushes and all that stuff. But I need to know, like when I'm on the ice against Joe Sakic, what does Joe Sakic like to do? Well, I can't give him any room because he's got one of the quickest releases in hockey. If I'm more than a stick length away, I'm screwed. Keith Tkachuk likes to go down the right wing, flip the puck up on his forehand, drive to the middle of the ice, and take a shot from the center of the ice. So guess what? I have to deny him the middle of the ice. None of that is on the team report.
Right.
That's stuff that I know. That's stuff that I have to execute. So that goes back to Tommy Edman again. If pitcher X, Y, or Z, or team X, Y, or Z are doing this, or this kind of pitch count, or this kind of sequence, rather, it's up to Tommy Edman to figure it out.
And you did,
or ask somebody. Ask a veteran guy. Hey, what do you know about this guy? Hey, I'm having trouble with this.
There is no way the information is not out there or available for them to get at this point in just the way technology works, man.
Right. And to your point, sometimes maybe it's a little bit too much information.
Yeah, and Tommy Emmons, he's a very analytically driven person. His whole family is like analytics. I think his sister does analytics for the Cardinals, and then his brother for the Red Sox, I believe.
Wow.
So maybe Tommy Edman is looking too much into it. I don't know. All I know is that comment, I think it should be placed on both sides of the equation, the player's fault and the coach's fault. If the player feels that way, then you need to go grab that player and say, okay, where's the disconnect? Now, if the player feels that way, he needs to go to the coach and not to the media.
And you said the Tkachuk word first, so we're gonna have to bring this up.
Yeah,
even though you
Walt,
said Keith Tkachuk.
Big Walt loves to play golf these days.
That's not who we're not talking about him.
Oddly enough, Big Walt doesn't like to go to the driving range. He doesn't like to go practice. He just likes to go play. So Walt's a gamer. Chantel's doing great.
Obviously, we're talking about
she's the,
really not who we're talking about.
She's the backbone of the family.
She's the backbone of the
Right?
family.
Great.
Taryn,
Great.
She's an incredible athlete. Some say the best athlete in the entire family. Brady's doing great.
Let me
He's
know
a
when you're
restricted free agent up in Ottawa. Some say he'll be the captain if he
My
signs an
God,
8-year
how many
deal.
Kachucks are there?
Yeah, that's it. I think we got them all.
You got them all?
the other one?
Except for the one that we want on our
Oh,
team.
no, they were just on a family vacation.
No.
See, Keith likes to get away when the seasons are over and get all the family because,
I
they don't have
heard
time.
Some good
I
family time.
heard.
They went down to the Bahamas.
I can turn your mic on. I heard, if I could figure it out. Let's see which one
She touched my butt.
I heard chatter in the hallway that the first step in making this deal put together that you authored, by the way. This is a bill that Senator Rivers is authoring over here. A handful of people to the Calgary Flames in exchange for that Tkachuk dude. And one person in that trade for you was Vladimir Tarasenko, who has a full no-trade clause.
I think he's got a no trade clause, but usually the Blues or the team would ask for a list of teams he would not want to go to.
And I hear that today he may have given them that list.
Yeah, well, apparently, rumor has it, Frank Saravelli, who used to be with TSN, is kind of out on his own now. He's a reputable guy. He's a blue check mark in the hockey world, and he says that Tarasenko has submitted a list of teams that either he will go to or he won't go to. And we've been digging through the interwebs here, and we haven't been able to find that list in particular, but I'm anxious to see, what teams would be on there. I think we probably have the obvious ones. I don't think Ottawa. I don't think Winnipeg. I don't think Buffalo. I think the bottom of the barrel is probably not going to be on his list of desired places. But the fact, though, guys, here, I think the biggest thing is, and I think, Donnie, you touched on this before we even started, the fact is that now we're talking about it openly.
Right.
It's almost like when you have a big secret and then all of a sudden people start to talk about it, and now you're talking about it openly and you can't believe, oh my gosh, are we really talking about this in public?
Okay.
Well, yeah, we are.
Real talk here. Us three guys just taking guesses.
Okay,
Just
Jeff,
three dudes
Jeff,
without
Jeff.
shirts on talking,
Hang on,
right?
Donnie, let Jeff turn the mics off. Okay, all right. Donnie,
If
go
you, as of right now, I say that there is next to zero chance that we start the year with Vladimir Tarasenko as a St. Louis Blue. Gentlemen, what do you, and man, this is just my gut
Don't
telling
worry, the
me
mic's
that.
off, so speak freely.
but seriously, what do you guys
I think
think?
it very much depends on the list that he submitted, but I think it's a high chance that he's no longer a Blue.
I think it's 50-50, honestly. I think that because of this chatter, teams are going to try and go for the jugular on Doug Armstrong, and push. And Army's not that kind of dude. You're not going to
fleece him.
Shove up against him in a trade. He's going to be like, whoa, keep your distance. And so it's going to take some time. I could see it happening around the NHL draft, which, takes time. It's a couple weeks away or 10 days away, whatever the heck it is now. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. And if the best deal doesn't come through, if everybody's trying to fleece Army, he'll hang on. He will hang on, and then what will happen is somebody will lose a player through free agency. Something will happen. Somebody will sign a guy that somebody else wanted, and now that team's left without a chair, and the music stops, and they're going to go, hey, we need a 30-goal scorer. Hey, Army, have you got any time to talk about Tarasenko? So that's what I think. All right, Jeff, turn the mics back.
But then are we already at the point almost of no return with Tarasenko, and are we running the risk of him being like, I don't want to be here anymore?
Yeah, that's what we want.
And are we?
Yeah.
Well, right.
Did I say that out loud? Damn, you turn the mics
From a
back on.
business standpoint, that's what we want,
No,
is
but
what you're saying.
what
Yeah.
you want. Okay, so first of all, let me clarify that. It's not that I don't want Vladimir Tarasenko wearing a blue note. You'd be crazy not to want a guy who's produced so much in the NHL. But if you're considering trying to move a guy that has a full no-trade clause, ultimately the goal at that point is you want him to say, I don't even care, I just want out. I'm so pissed at you guys. That's a dream come true.
Yeah.
Because now there's no tiptoeing around certain teams and worrying about certain deals that you have to make. Now it's free reign. You're like, okay, turn all the phone lines on. We're open for business.
Yeah, and when you first started talking about this deal, you said the first thing that they need to do is make Tarasenko not want to be here,
No, I didn't
for
say
lack of
that.
a better term.
I didn't say
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry.
A
No,
friend
you
of
didn't
mine
say
did.
that. Yeah.
So is there any concern? If the Cardinals are going to make a deal, we're not trading with the Cubs.
They can't pick up Tarasenko as far as I know. They'd have to sign him as a free agent.
Right, yeah. And he is, I think he's a righty, right? We need a left-hander.
He's
He's a lefty bat, righty thrower.
Well, Shecky, hang on just one second.
Shecky, who's he calling Shecky? I'm assuming
Probably
me.
both of you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But no, but
that a bad thing?
are you worried about trading Tarasenko in the West? Are you trying to get him to the East? Are you even concerned about that at this point?
I'm not concerned about anything when it comes to trades anymore. What I'm concerned about is making my team better. And then if a player that I trade goes on and has success, well, great. Good for him. Good for him. It's like, to me, it's like an ex-girlfriend or an ex-wife or a best friend that all of a sudden you're not together anymore. Do you really, unless they've done something really bad to you, most of the time you're like, go get it, man.
Right.
Get after life. Go get it. And Tarasenko hasn't done anything bad to the Blues. He's played his guts out. He won a Stanley Cup. He scored 40 goals for this team. He's been a very, very good guy in the community, a reputable face. His kids play youth hockey here in St. Louis. I wish no ill upon this guy. So if Army can make a trade even within the division, the Central Division, which sounds crazy, but even then, so be it. And if I'm making a trade, it's because I'm happy with the return, if I'm Doug Armstrong. And then I don't really care what Vladimir Tarasenko does. Yeah, when we play him, we're going to want our pound of flesh. We're going to want to beat him. But at the end of the day, this is the player that I want or the players that I wanted. So I'm ready to move forward in a different direction.
We talk about the first game of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We can do that if you'd like.
Yeah, man, that was kind of an ass whooping.
A little bit of a shellacking. Not exactly leaving them out behind the tool shed or anything, but man, did they set a tone.
And
Holy cow.
I'll be honest. Pardon me. I was back and forth between that and the Cardinal game because I'm a glutton for punishment as far as the Cardinals.
By the way, how
Cardinals go.
freaking long was that Cardinals game?
I
Dude,
didn't.
I watched the entire hockey game, which, by the way, they started at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was back and forth like you, Donnie. I had the tablet going with the Cardinals game and the TV with the Blues game. Or not the Blues, the playoff game. Wish it was the Blues. Damn it. And all of a sudden the hockey game's over, and then I've got the tablet, and then I'm going up to bed, and then I'm in bed, and then now I'm fighting back sleeping and we're still in the ball game.
Man,
There's
Sorry.
nothing that makes a baseball game seem even slower than flipping back and forth from hockey to baseball.
Yeah, that's a bad
actually
combo.
that's a good point.
But I do it all the time. I do it, and then when I look at it, I go, "Oh my gosh!" I even said out loud the other day that if they want to speed up baseball, and I'm not 100% sure they want to.
Oh, they do.
Okay,
They do.
If they want to speed up baseball, why don't you have them maybe the on deck guy a little more prepared? Like, you're on deck, or say Donnie, you're batting, and I'm on deck, and you fly out to center. And you've already rounded, first and come back into the deck. And here I am over on the on-deck circle, still pine-tarring it up and taking my practice swings. At least start walking towards the damn plate.
The way they fix that is a pitch
My
clock.
goodness.
It's a pitch clock, right? And so while you're in a sequence with a batter, like one batter is up, I think you have a certain amount of time between pitches. And then once that batter hits, or he's called out, I think they start a pitch clock to where
You're in the box or it's a strike.
Exactly. So the pitcher can fire away. So the batter's got to hurry his ass up and get in the box, get prepared, fix his gloves 12 times, arrange a helmet. Like, that stuff gets old to me, too. Because
oh, my gosh.
those guys are supposed to stay in the batter's box, and all the time they're stepping out. They readjust their gloves. Like, if there's something wrong with your Velcro, dude, get a new pair of gloves.
Those are the most expensive batting gloves in the entire world, A. 2, you didn't pay for them. And C, you're adjusting them after every pitch.
Single one, which is crazy to me.
I get a routine. I understand that. But come on. Remember Terry Pendleton used to, once he got in the box, he always had a foot in the box.
Yeah.
He would take one foot out and do whatever he needed to do and then get back in. That's what they should actually enforce.
How many times did Ozzie Smith readjust his gloves?
Oh, he didn't wear gloves.
Correct.
Yeah.
Tony, that's a 1.5 points, Jeff. You lose.
But to me, man, as a baseball fan, it's so friggin' frustrating. But as a hockey fan, when I know the game starts at 7:15, I know by 9:45, 10 o'clock, game's over. Man, if you are a parent and you're taking like your kid to a ball game, and you're like, I could be here for 2.5 hours, or I could be here for 4 hours.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make logical sense for somebody that's going to do that,
some
man.
Of the kids and lucky kids to be in the green seats as I'm watching.
But they get
some of
bored.
They're asleep.
Dude.
Last night there were two kids I'm looking over, and the dad, who's great trooper, he's got his arm around the kid. The kid's asleep, watching the last inning and a half. I'm like, oh my god.
It is
sorry, man,
dude. It is frustrating for me. Like I love baseball. I love hockey, but it pisses me off that hockey is not a bigger sport, and baseball seemingly is doing everything they can to get in their way, to just make things way more difficult. And even the ways that they're slow or trying to speed up the game, I don't know that they are, and it just feels like the game is different more than anything else to me. And I know how things change, man, but I'm tired of strikeouts or home runs. There needs to be more activity in the game. I know, man,
that's not going anywhere.
But I'm just saying there has to be more movement in the game, as opposed to, I think there's a country artist for the WIL side of things.
Oh, they're setting up security?
No, I think they're getting ready to leave because there was somebody with a guitar in the WIL.
Oh, the female with the guitar?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was my guitar. I had her carry it for me.
Oh, that's nice.
It was very nice of her.
That's super nice.
She's great.
Well,
handler.
On a very positive note, we did find out yesterday that the Blues and the Wild will be playing at Target Field for the Winter Classic, which is really, really fantastic. The Blues doing 2 of these things in like 5 years now, which is really awesome. And that means that the Blackhawks aren't involved, which is
awesome.
Really refreshing.
Yeah, which is always very cool.
Which is really good right now. I'm okay not talking about the Blackhawks. I'm a little, we had somebody tweet at us if we're going to talk about this Blackhawks situation with these sexual assault allegations and stuff, which, listen, I haven't read enough about it to have an actual comment on it. But the fact that it happened and that it sounds like it really did happen is awful. And if guys or coaches are leveraging pro hockey jobs for other stuff that are involved, I mean, it's crazy. And if the organization was notified, which I can tell you what, Paul Vincent, who's the skills coach, who's been at the forefront of this because apparently he was the first guy that the players told, hey, this isn't right, what this guy's doing. He's a former state trooper in Massachusetts. He says he brought it to the top dogs and told them. I believe him. I know Mr. Vincent. Mr. V is an awesome dude. I crossed paths with him in my hockey journey. He adopted 5 kids because his wife couldn't have kids, and they were all kids of different backgrounds and races and all that stuff. He's an unbelievable dude. And if he says that he was told this and that he passed it on, then the Blackhawks, they've got some explaining to do. And I'm not thrilled. So I'm happy that the Blackhawks, to put a bow on this for now and tuck it away until we get more information and things like that. I'm glad they're not involved in any of the big stage events that the NHL
I bet the NHL is very glad of that as well.
They are right now, too.
Yeah.
But our Blues are.
Boy, they sure
So
are.
question for you guys, and Meat asked me this yesterday. He said, is the window closing on the Blues, though, for these special events, meaning the Winter Classic, the All-Star Game, now they're in another Winter Classic. Is the window closing for the Blues if they don't have success again or they don't grab a star player?
Hell yeah.
You kind of changed I was going to say, but I would say hell yeah, unless they make a big splash this offseason and or have a good season next season to keep the on the radar of the NHL.
Yeah, but but if they peter again, if they peter off again, then that's a playoff. The bubble playoff series this season and next. I'm not prepared for that. God dang it, I'm not prepared.
I'm not
for
either.
that, even in the slightest.
Yeah, because we always said, hey, to be involved in these special events, you got to win. They won the Stanley Cup, and now they're involved. You got to keep it going. You got to keep the motor going.
People piss and moan about the Blackhawks being involved in all these. They also won 3 Stanley Cups in a decade.
Listen, and
that gives them a bigger window.
Listen, man, I understand every logical bit of it, and I will be the first one to say the only reason I don't like it is because I hate them.
Sure.
I'm with you.
I completely get it. I'm not saying they didn't deserve it. It just got old after a while when you saw it. But I got to tell you what, and it's not possible probably. I cannot imagine going to one of these things. I didn't get to go when it was at Busch here.
Yeah.
It just looks so amazing. One of the first years when it was Buffalo and it was freaking snowing against Pittsburgh.
They got the guys with the stocking hats on out there.
That was the very first one.
Dude, that was so awesome, man. So awesome. I just love the event as a whole and think it is just a great way to showcase the game, man. And what a great game it is.
It is. Very much so.
It's exciting. I'm glad the league held up their end of the bargain because they weren't contractually obligated to include the Blues. The only obligation they had was for 2021 was the Minnesota Wild to host the Winter Classic at Target Field. And they even said it last year towards the end. It could change. And I thought, man, the Wild have had quite a rivalry against Vegas lately. And Vegas is kind of the new darling. I was worried that they'd flip-flop it, but I'm glad the league followed through with this and that the Blues are going to be the team that plays the Wild.
With all of this chatter about all the changes the Blues need to make, and maybe Tkachuk could be coming here, or somebody else may want to come sign
Think
here.
about it. Positive thinking.
Positive thinking, yes.
We will will it to happen.
All right, well, we're going to go Landeskog now then. Come on. Would the news of a winter an outdoor game like this, would that make a free agent go, oh, you know what, I want to be in on that. Maybe I'll go sign a year with them or 2 years with them. Or is it not that big of a deal to make somebody actually sign with a team just for that?
I feel like it would be a cherry on top.
Yeah, maybe just
Depending
some
on the
added
player.
value, if nothing else. Yeah.
Depending on the player, like if it's a veteran-type guy who's been a part of some things before and he hasn't been a part of something like this in his career, it's a cherry on top. Like Donnie said, it's not going to sway me to take less money or go to a spot. Not me, it wouldn't. I mean, it's an outdoor game, which is great. It's fantastic. Now, I've had the privilege of playing in an alumni one, and I thought that was pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's cool enough to, say, okay, I'll take $1 million less.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
Just saying.
Let me throw this one out there. I meant to bring this up earlier. Darn it, dang it, darn it. I just want to say this, and then I want to watch him. I want to watch him react.
Okay.
And you're going to be in on this too, Jamie.
Okay.
So, the second to last game of the Vegas series with Montreal,
Here we go.
Petro was in the penalty box, and he broke the penalty box camera with his stick. The press conference the following day, whoa, baby, Petro was Grumpy Gus. Prior to that in the series, Jeff, you said it was a stick up somebody's nose situation.
Yeah, he was chatting with somebody and took the butt end of his stick and went up his chin and his nose with it. And then when they were skating away, Petro started slapping the back of the guy's leg with the stick.
Here's my question.
Go for it.
What happened to our nice Petro?
Plus, he's hanging out with that Mark Stone douche.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely
why.
so. It's rubbing off on him in the exact wrong way. I don't want them to hang out this
Come on,
summer.
man. He's one of the best hockey players in the entire world. He doesn't need to do this
I
stuff.
understand, guys, but what could we have used on the blue line this year?
I know.
No, I'm just saying, like, never mind the talent. What did you just describe, Donnie?
You sandpaper.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
No, I'm dude.
But that's not his game, though. He's the
evolving,
best player in the
Jeff.
entire. He's devolving.
No, he's not.
He's turning into Mark Stone.
Okay, listen. He's not devolving.
Don't you point at me and say,
I'll point
"Listen."
at you. I'll come over this
Oh,
desk
boy,
in a second.
guys.
No, I won't. I love you too much.
I'm going to start recording this.
But if you look at Petro's playoff, he was leading the Conn Smythe discussion until they were eliminated. What he did in the playoffs this year was far greater than what he did with the Blues on a personal level. So whatever he was doing, whether it was in your face, ask Nathan McKinnon how he feels about Petro. Ask Gabriel Landeskog what he feels about Alex Pietrangelo. They're not going to have very nice things to say. Guess what? They did it from the golf course before Petro did.
No, hey, 100%.
I'm all for it. Anytime I see a stick go up a little, I'm like, you know what? It brings a little tear to my
Dude,
eye.
we have just been.
It brought a tear to that guy's eye too.
That's my point.
It just feels like a different sort of personality. That's it as much
He's
as anything
grabbing
else.
the game by the balls, and he's shaking. He's like, that's right. This is my game. I own it. I got 7 more years in Vegas. Have you seen my house? I have a 16-car
Have you seen
garage.
my garages?
I've got a
seen
car
that?
commercial now. Do you know who I am?
Petro didn't even know I visited and stayed in this garage for 3 weeks. Never even came down.
Didn't even know it. You're trying to tell me he got all that money and moved to Vegas and he's driving a Honda van? Give me a break. Give me a break. I'm just saying.
Uber Eats delivering it to the basement. He's like, what?
Okay, real quick, guys. So the finals will be over in the next week, in the next 7 to 10 days or what have you. Then, Jamie, when do things start popping off? Like, when is free agency draft? It's really short thereafter, right?
Yeah, I've lost track a little bit here, Donnie, because I've been so dedicated to our St. Louis Cardinals. And I know that the time is ticking
How's
here.
that working out?
At least you probably care more than the people on the team do sometimes, I think.
That's a good point. Following the final game in the Stanley Cup finals, next step is the expansion draft, which comes shortly after that. And then after that will be the entry draft and then free agency. It's going to be like running downhill here in a hurry. So Doug Armstrong right now has to be, and the Blues have to be ready to go. They have to be ready for everything right now.
So are they at? So are they at the arena now? Are they having meetings every day? Or are they just Zooming meetings every day?
Probably
but there is
Zoom meetings.
But there's a plan of action every day. They're chipping away. They're working on something.
Yeah, they've got the dry erase board going. They've got their protected list. They've got their unprotected guys. Their scenarios. There's already been discussions with Seattle, I guarantee it, over what players they might be interested in. And then from there, what's our pivot as the St. Louis Blues? Chris Kerber brought up an interesting comment the other day that Torrey Krug might be in play. It's like, whoa, I don't know. Apparently something, went sideways there. I don't really know enough about it. It shocked me too, but all of a sudden, is Torrey Krug in play? If so, what would Doug Armstrong be looking for? I'd have to do a lot more background check on that because it was news to me too, as a surprise to me as well.
Well, and I think it's interesting how you said it's not
it up on your show, actually.
Probably. Because we're on the tip of information, especially when it comes to hockey over there. I think what's interesting is what you mentioned a couple of shows ago, that it's not just a hard and fast, okay, well, here comes the trade deadline or here comes the expansion draft, that teams actually make deals, kind of sidebar deals, like you could say with Seattle, hey, look, we're going to leave X player exposed, but don't pick them, and therefore we'll do this for you at another time.
Yeah.
That makes this time of year even more interesting.
With a couple of draft picks and maybe this young guy here, you take your pick, but leave so-and-so alone.
And that's not like collusion or any of that kind of stuff. It's just sidebar conversations.
Just sidebar conversations.
Dude, if Torrey Krug got traded, isn't that, or got picked up by Seattle, isn't that Doug Armstrong's kind of way of going, whoops?
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't
if you're going to
think
whoops,
so.
do it now as opposed to in 7 years.
No. I'm going to correct myself. Or is it him saying and having conversations with the coach saying, maybe this just isn't the right player for our system?
Maybe it's the player saying this maybe isn't the right team for me.
Maybe he needs to go with Tarasenko to Calgary, and we get Tkachuk back. That's what we do. We send Krug to Calgary and get
Mark Giordano will be picked up by the Seattle Kraken. He will be, and that's a left-handed shot defenseman that makes about $6 million a year. Plays in the top four. I mean,
That sounds like Torrey Krug, right?
could be. Could be yours.
Dudes, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. Like, I can't wait to see what goes on, and then I can't wait to complain when it doesn't happen the way that I wanted to. God, I love sports.
Free agency is
so much.
28th of July. I just looked up. Is that right? Yeah.
Should be July 1st.
Oh, July 1st? Free agency?
Usually.
Well, but
That's like 2 days from
But
now.
the finals will still be going on.
Oh, yeah. No, wait. Oh, sorry,
I have
Jeff.
July 28th in the Googles.
Okay, I'll go with yours.
All right, thanks.
Sorry, Jamie. I didn't mean to yell
My
at you.
brain is like July 1st because it's always Canada Day. And I was like, free agency. I'm going to go get pinned right now. Call me if you need me. Guy got the call the one time from Guy Carbonneau. I was just
Carbonneau.
pinned up at the lake. And he's like, hey, Riv, we're going to sign you to a contract. I'm like, okay, let's do it, Carbo.
Yeah, sure. Have
like-
you always had that accent?
Where should I send it, he says. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even have a printer or a computer up here. So he sent it to the hardware store in the little village. It was amazing. We'll save that for draft week.
You got to be kidding me. You had a contract sent to
That
a
was
hardware
incredible.
store.
Harold was the guy at the hardware store. It's amazing stuff.
Can I get my contract of some 10-penny nails? That'd be great. Thanks.
Imagine getting a Montreal Canadiens contract sent to your hardware store, and your hardware store is located in this little wee French village in Quebec.
Oh, no.
They were like taking Polaroids of this thing. They were
They were, man. They still
Actual Polaroids.
Dude, they still talk about that
and
to this
waving them around
day.
in the air.
It is the Last
great.
Minute Blues podcast. Jeff Burton, Donnie Fandango, Jamie Rivers. Share us with your hockey-loving friends. We love doing this for you. As always, when it's applicable, let's go Blues.
The Last Minute Blues podcast. Hear more at 1057thepoint.com.
Peacock is streaming your favorite shows, movies, live sports, breaking news, exclusive originals, and every live WWE pay-per-view. It's The Office, Chris Lee Knows Best, and Peacock original shows like Punky Brewster. Peacock, watch for free, upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com.
Los pros comienzan el día aprovechando los servicios exclusivos en Lowe's. No solo ofrecemos clavos, tendrás aire comprimido gratis para tus ruedas y tanques portátiles. Estacionamiento de remolques para pros cuando vengas de compras. Un lugar para limpiar tu parabrisas. Y una bebida energética para despertarte. Aquí tu día empieza más rápido pagando en cajeros solo para pros. Por eso Lowe's es el nuevo hogar de los pros, solo en Estados Unidos.